Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic, less known classics. This episode number 3289, Doubleshot number 3183. Got two Star Wars trades for you today. First up, it is pretty much the penultimate miniseries for this publication line for Marvel Comics. Well, for this particular series, this is Star Wars, The High Republic, Shadows of Starlight. Yes, this came out just after, actually came out before the Volume 3. The last known miniseries released for the Marvel line for this particular franchise is Fear of the Jedi. And there's also the finale one-shot. Mostly put a lot of this book, by the way, it's written by Charles Shaw, who this is actually his second miniseries he did under the High Republic banner. He also has done books like the first Lando miniseries. He also Obi-Wan, Anakin, and of course he did one other High Republic book, which I found to be so much more interesting than the actual main book, which begs to wonder, why didn't he write the main book? Oh, that's because he was writing the main Star Wars book at the time. Now it currently is not currently. So, this is only 5 issues, and mostly put a lot of this deals with basically some more after effect of destruction of one space station, and it's basically the entire Jedi Order reacting to it. Of course, written by Charles Shaw. Artwork by, for the first issue, is Ibram Robertson. Issue 2 is Mike Carista. 3 issues solely done by Joto Morales, so he does issue 4 with David Messina. And my overall biggest problem with the High Republic books is, with the exception of seeing appearance by Yoda and a Rancor, a lot of these characters are just not all that interesting. And it's not Calvin Scott's fault. It is not his fault at all. He's doing his best. So mostly put you have this Nob species, and mostly put the place like preparing for war. This basically leads into, it's like this particular miniseries is mostly put a bridge in the gap between Volume 2 and Volume 3. That's mostly put what this book is mostly set for. And that's pretty much it. There's no overall familiar characters in here. I mean, so far, of all the High Republic books I've read, the only familiar character I have seen that I am familiar with is Yoda. He popped up at the end of Volume 2. Is this miniseries more interesting than the main book? Oh, heck yes. I would say it is definitely better. Is it as good as Charles Shaw's first miniseries under the High Republic banner? No. Not as good as that one. But I do think it's better than the main line, the main volume, so I'm going to give it roughly an 8 out of 10. Yes, Calvin Scott does the Fear of the Jedi book, and he also does the finale. Yeah, he does pretty much the whole line itself. Next up is something a lot more interesting. Now, this actually is a series of one-shots, a shape paperback, known as Star Wars Age of the Republic, where this was a series of one-shots released in different eras. There's Republic, Rebellion, and Resistance. This is Republic, basically the prequel era. And there's the cover there, and focuses on various characters who appeared throughout this whole thing. Now, you might be asking, because he does technically appear in this era, does Yoda get a one-shot? No, he does not. Interesting enough, a lot of these one-shots are in by, there's a few different writers here. So, we have Jodie Hauser. She writes the one-shots for Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, Pamela Amidala, Darth Maul, Jango Fett, Count Dooku, and General Grievous. There is also the Age Republic special, which Jodie Hauser has one story for that one. She does the Sisters one-shot story, short story. So Ethan Stacks does the Weapon one. Mark Guggenheim does 501 plus 1, this is basically the group that works with Anakin Skywalker. Now, a lot of these one-shots either take place either... Now, do any of these things take place before the events of Phantom Menace? I'd say probably just Darth Maul does. A lot of anything else, it takes place either like just before Attack of the Clones or during Attack of the Clones. That's most of what it is. First, we have Qui-Gon Jinn. And because he's here, you're like, oh, is this one shot set before Phantom Menace? Yes, it is, because Qui-Gon Jinn's alive for this one. Mostly put, it's him protecting this woman he refers to as Mistress, who's like rules this planet. Now, Yoda is here, obviously, but this is probably just before he took Qui-Gon, he took Obi-Wan as apprentice. It's a whole one-shot dedicated to him. It's actually, believe it or not, the first ever solo story for Qui-Gon Jinn under the Marvel banner. Because I think he may have had some solo stuff published under Dark Horse, but not Marvel. Nope. I think like the only thing ever featuring him that I could think of was maybe the reprinting of the Phantom Menace mini-series. But aside from that, nope. This is basically like a emotional journey for him. But it's a really good one-shot. And of course, they do like a little texting afterwards. And then we have Darth Maul. Another one-shot set before Defense Phantom Menace. Now, as for the placements one, is it before or after his mini-series that was published that took place before Phantom Menace? Not sure. You could place it either before or afterwards. One thing I was kind of surprised about with this one shot, that Marvel decided not to collect it with his own trade paperback. I would have thought they would have, but they did not for some weird reason. That would have been a perfect place to put it aside from this trade, but yeah, so... Excuse me. So mostly put it just Maul on Coruscant, chasing after somebody. And this is definitely an assignment. This is definitely before the events of Phantom Menace because there's no mention of going to Naboo. He does, however, go to the Sith homeworld. One of many ways because for some weird reason they decided to retcon in the movies. And it's seen with the brother people, the Brotherhood, which is the sister species to the Sisterhood, which apparently Asajj ventures from. And then we have Obi-Wan Kenobi, where, based on the beard, it's actually just before Attack of the Clones. So we have some younglings, and we have Obi-Wan just meditating, of course. So, this is definitely set after Phantom Menace. And because given how old Anakin is here, I would say this is another... now, there was a mini-series for Obi-Wan and Anakin that took place between the events of Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. This is by far the second time we've actually had a book featuring both these two characters. Now, Anakin himself is very young here. I'd say it's probably at this point, I don't think it's been a year. I'd say maybe 2 years. Given the length of his hair, I'd say it's been 2 years. Yes. It could be not long afterwards. Presumably, yes. We do see a flashback to when Qui-Gon Jinn was killed by Darth Maul. Darth Maul himself, this actually was the second one-shot appearance in. Qui-Gon also second as well. So it could be just after Phantom Menace, but it's definitely years before the events of Attack of the Clones. We see him in the library, of course. More youngling stuff. Now, is there any mission? No, it's just a little story. And we see Shakti, obviously. I think it's Shakti. Actually, no, it's not Shakti. It's just a woman who looks very similar to Shakti. Yeah, that looks like Shakti, who's in the same species as Ahsoka, except this actually is not a Shakti. It just is a similar design. And this is a brief assignment, so yeah, they kill some bad guys, protect people, and then we have a Jango Fett one-shot. Now this one is another one set between before Attack of the Clones because, well, he's alive here, and we have basically where we have him here with his son Boba. We do see a flashback in here of of, get this, a mysterious cloaked figure offering Django to create the clone army. And this is sort of an explanation for that. So it's like a lot of this. Now there was also a mini-series. Now based on who this is, yeah, and the whole thing is Obo's reputation, genetic template, and well, they do have Camino appearing here. Yes. Now, of course, Django did have a mini-series set during this time period, which was released fairly recently, and I have reviewed it. So it's mostly put him on a series of missions. Of course, we see the clones, obviously, and it's like, you could say with this one shot here, it's a lot of stuff basically set up the events act the clones. I would say it's definitely set after events Django Fett, because basically, well, then we have Anakin Skywalker here. Now, based on the cover, you would think that this is set after this is set during the Clone Wars, and it is, because this actually is the first one-shot not to be set either before Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones. This is set after Attack of the Clones, and it's only the second one-shot for Anakin. Well, it's his first solo one, yes, but second one he's featured in. So yes, of course, there's the Darth Vader stuff, but this is as Anakin. So this is him with an admiral who now basically this is sort of like expanding upon stuff established in the Star Wars Clone Wars CGI show, because we see the Admiral Yanin. Yeah, he appears here because he was a recurring character in that show. So basically, Jodie Howell's doing him in here because why not? And mostly put, basically, it's all about going down to a possible joy factory. They think that the workers, basically, of course, not soldiers. He goes down by himself, and he pretty much says it's just frees all the workers because they're all slaves. And, well, the people are not going to sign a problem because apparently, according to them, they were coerced. Apparently, the Separatists took over the place, and, well, Anakin liberated them. It's a really good one-shot. Next comes Count Dooku. And unlike in the case of Anakin, which is set after Clones, this is obviously set. Given the fact there's no mention of the Clone Wars here, so I am presuming this is set before the events Attack of the Clones. Yes. So it's him on a special mission, of course. They, of course, they do reference the events of Episode 1 here, obviously. And it's mostly just a quick story for him, working with Tiger Man, and of course he kills him too, and basically set events of, well, Attack Clones. Next we have Pamela Amidala. Amidala. Now, like in the Anakin one-shot, by the way, this actually is, I kid you not, the third one-shot he appears in. Because first he appeared in the Obi-Wan one, then he appeared in the Solo, then this one. Now this is another one that's set during the Clone Wars. Because, well, here's basically how I was at the still during the Clone Wars. Anakin and Padme are married, but Padme is not pregnant yet. So this is set during the Clone Wars. I would say, based upon the attire here, I'd say it's possibly either season 2, 3, or 4. And it's a brief thing. We see like a duplicate. We see a double for hers. Now, of course, they don't talk about the kiss that this double witnessed Padme kissing Anakin. I'm sure she's like, wow, he may be Jedi Knight, but he's probably quite handsome. Yeah, and it's quite interesting here. Really cool one-shot for Padme. And then we have Grievous. Because he's here, it's obviously before Attack. It's always Revenge of the Sith. Oh yeah, definitely. And mostly put, it's him, like, basically killing Jedi. And based on how he looks here, this is, well, for some weird reason, we see the symbol of the Jedi Order here, which, in the original Expanding Universe, that was also the logo used for the New Republic Order books. Yep, this very logo. So, it's basically going to do a series of trials here. We also do see Grievous before he became what he is. So you kind of say this is basically his origin story, kind of how he got the way he is. So you at least gotta appreciate how I was writing that. And then finally comes the Age Public Special. Sisters, obviously the Asajj Ventress here, which I saw. Here's some weird thing about Asajj Ventress. No miniseries for her. Fallen Plus One that focuses on the 501st team with Jar Jar Binks of all people. Yes, seriously. The Weapon is a Mace Windu story, which, given the context here, this is. I'm guessing this is not. This is probably either set before Phantom Menace or after Phantom Menace. But my guess is probably before. It's a quick short story. It's a little assignment for him. No apprentice per se. And then we had the 501st.1, which this one is set obviously during the Clone Wars because Rex is here. Yes, Rex, who actually is, working for Anakin. So this is set obviously during the Clone Wars. We have Binks here, who obviously doesn't use a lightsaber, but he doesn't use a gun properly. And that's it. Now, these one-shots are fantastic. Not a single bad one here. And I think that Jody Howes doing these things was an excellent idea. Especially since he had just done the first Thrawn miniseries and the second one, Thrawn Alliances, which I thought was really cool. I'm hoping they adapt their book for comic book as well. Yep. And I give Star Wars Age of the Republic a 10 out of 10. Yep, so yeah, that's basically a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe to notifications. I'm going to go ahead and just resume watching The Greatest Demon Lord Reborn is Typical Nobody, okay? Thanks, you. Bye.